Hey, this is Scoots. If you fall asleep fast, I'm really trying to get your attention with this voice, so please pause a second, okay? But if you aren't in a position to support the show, if you're new, you only listen occasionally, you're just going through a tough time, don't worry about this message. We've got you. Listeners like Stephanie support the show, so you don't need to worry about it. But if you fall asleep fast, it's really tough to keep the podcast going in a way that benefits fall asleep fast listeners. It really comes down to fall asleep fast listeners supporting the show, which is, I guess, irony and paradox. Because if you fall asleep within 5 minutes, why would you support the show, right? If Fall Asleep Fast listeners don't support the show, it just can't even exist. Pretty weird conundrum, unique to shows like Sleep With Me. So I don't know, is your why strong enough? Fall Asleep Fast, is that a big enough why to support the show? Would the show not being here be strong enough a why for you to support the show? Or is there something else, like something like Stephanie said? Stephanie's been listening to the show for 8 years, and I had the same experience Scooter describes all the time. Tried it, disliked it, didn't get it, and then I was traveling and I gave it another try, and I fall asleep really quickly now, and it's completely worth supporting the show. In tough times, Sleep With Me's been there, and I feel like I spend so much money on things that have no meaning in my life. This show means so much to me that I can't help but be a supporter. In the past, I felt like other people would take care of it for me, like there was people with limitless money that should be doing the part for the rest of us. But once I really thought about how I spend my money and my deep relationship with the show, I realized I am one of those people who should be a supporter. It took a while to step up, but I did. Scooter works hard for us, so do a bunch of other people, too. And hard work deserves fair compensation. I just hope my support is helping. Well, it is, Stephanie, and it's helpful to hear your why. And if you've got a why, but you haven't supported the show, you could support the show because of your why right now, especially if you fall asleep fast at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. But then I'm going to send you a video. I'd love to hear your why of why you're about to sign up and support the show. Or, you could be hopeful like me that someone else has a why out there and they fall asleep fast and they're going to sign up tonight. But if it's you, you could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks.
Taking care of your eyes shouldn't be a hassle. That's why Warby Parker is a one-stop shop for all your vision needs. Our prescription glasses and sunglasses are expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Stop by a nearby store or use our app to virtually try on frames and get personalized recommendations. Did we mention we offer eye exams and take vision insurance too? For everything you need to see, head to your nearest Warby Parker store or visit warbyparker.com today. That's warbyparker.com.
This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's time for the podcaster who's here for one of the first times in the show to read you a story, but it's more of a paraphrase full of meanders. So this will be fun. There's always something new for you to barely pay attention to. If you're new to the show, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. But let me tell you a little bit more about it. First of all, most people don't like the show when they first find it. But I hope you give it a few tries so that you could see if the podcast can help you fall asleep or take your mind off of stuff or get back to sleep or give you a distraction during the day. Or really what the show is cutting through the loneliness in the deep, dark night and giving you something other than whatever is keeping you awake to focus on, something that's a little bit silly, a little bit goofy. But I'm really feeling thankful, like when I'm recording the show. Also sweaty, but thankful and sweaty. Who would have known you could feel those two things at the same time? But maybe I'll tell you why I'm sweaty in the intro. I'm not sweating my sweat. That's how honest I am. But really, I'm thankful I get to make the show. My sleep goes up and down. And when I hear from somebody else, I help. It puts things in perspective that I get to help other people that are going through something that I struggle with too, or that I could be your companion and at least make it not full of dread and not that you don't have to do it alone. We all get to go through this in different ways together and have a little bit of fun while we're doing it, really. I mean, what could be more fun than me talking about synthetic materials and sweating maybe in a few minutes. So welcome to Sleep With Me. If you're new, give the show a few tries. There's no benefit to us. So if you already loathe the show, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you has other sleep podcasts you could check out and sleepy stuff. But that's just what about 1 million people have said over the 10 years we've been making the show. It took 2 or 3 tries to get used to realize the show never made any sense. What works about it is it never makes any sense. So give it a few tries, see how it goes. What we got coming up is most people enjoy the show, the version that you're listening to, an ad-supported version. They listen linearly. So our structure of the show is based on that. It eases you into bedtime. So first, we're going to have support, so paying for the show is optional, then a long, meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime or as you get ready for bed, and then a bedtime story from Charles Dickens, of all people, later on, with plenty of pointless meanders from Scoots. So thanks so much for coming by. And these sponsors are what enable us to do this for free twice a week.
This show is supported by Blue Land. Each year, Americans throw away 25% more trash from Thanksgiving to New Year's. This year, let's turn our New Year's resolutions into actions that make a difference by reducing single-use plastics. Blue Land makes that easy. Blue Land believes that hardworking, clean products can be the norm, not the exception. From cleaning sprays and toilet bowl cleaner to dishwasher and laundry detergent tablets, Blue Land's 100% microplastic-free, EPA Safer Choice certified formulas are safe to use around family, pets, and plants. You'll love not having to choose between the safe option and what actually gets your house clean. Blue Land products are independently tested to perform alongside major brands, and the formulas are free from dyes, parabens, and harsh chemicals. Plus, Blue Land is a certified B Corp and certified cruelty-free by Leaping Bunny. Their formulas are EPA's Safer Choice certified, and many have received the Gold Material Health Certificate from Cradle to Cradle. And right now, Blue Land has a special offer for listeners. Get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/PRX. You don't want to miss this. blueland.com/PRX for 15% off. That's blueland.com/PRX to get 15% off.
Everybody, Scoots here, and we're doing something different for the holiday season that we haven't. I don't think I've ever done this before, but I was trying to think of, I don't know. I go to the Dickens fair, and I've read Dickens books in the past, but I know there's some Charles Dickens short stories that I haven't read. And so I thought I'd kind of read and paraphrase and see how much story we get through. Maybe the second half we'll put on Patreon, or maybe it'll be 2 episodes. I don't know. But I thought it would be fun to read through a Dickens story or two. And I don't do a lot of reading on this podcast, so it might be something people enjoy. We could see and go from there. So this one is from 1850, A Christmas Tree. I've been looking on this evening at a merry company of children assembled around that pretty German toy, a Christmas tree. The tree was planted in the middle of a great round table. What do you mean, how is it planted on a table, dude? Towered high above their heads. And Dickens would say, you expand your vocabulary, son. It was brilliantly lighted by a multitude of little tapers, and everywhere sparkled and glittered with bright objects. There were rosy-cheeked dolls hiding behind the green leaves, and there were real watches with movable hands, and an endless capacity of being wound up, dangling from innumerable twigs. Innumerable twigs, I like that. There were French-polished chairs, tables, bedsteads, wardrobes, eight-day clocks. I wonder what an 8-day clock. I guess we already got a pause. and look up what an 8-day clock is. Sleep with me, EIGHT. Oh, I hit W, EIGHT. 8-day clock. Okay, let's see, it comes up. Okay, this is an 8-day clock is defined by its internal movement. A 1-a-day clock requires winding once a day, where an 8-day clock, especially a cuckoo clock, runs for approximately 1 week on a single winding. So it is like one of those modern technology, I think. That's cool. I mean, that's not a lot of winding. Okay, wardrobes, articles of furniture, wonderfully made in tin at Wolverhampton, perched among the boughs. As if in preparation for some fairy housekeeping, there were jolly, broad-faced elven beings, much more agreeable in appearance than humans. No wonder. Wow, this is cool. No wonder for when you, opened them up, they were full of sugar plums. There were fiddles and drums, there were tambourines, books, work boxes, paint boxes, sweetmeat boxes, peep show boxes. I think that's where you can watch the comedy program. Not like there was like a famous in England. There was like a, and I don't know, I shouldn't even, but it has nothing to do with like. I mean, it was like what do you call that? Improv, or no, sketch comedy. And all kinds of boxes. There were trinkets for elder girls, far brighter than any grown-up gold and jewels. There were baskets and pincushions and all devices. There was squirters and things to eat your meals with, and banners. There was cutouts of Lady Witchbeard standing in enchanted rings of pasteboard to see the future. Humming tops, needle cases, pen wiper. What's a pen wiper? Smelling bottles, conversation cards, bouquet holders, real fruit made artificially dazzling with gold leaf, imitation apples, pears, and walnuts, crammed with surprises. In short, as a child before me delightfully whispered to another child, there was everything and more. This motley collection of odd objects clustering on the tree like magic fruit and flashing back the bright looks directed towards it from every side. Some of the diamond eyes admiring it were hardly on a level with the table, and few were languishing with mothers and aunts. A lively realization of the fancies of childhood and set me thinking how all the trees that grow and all the things that come into existence on the earth have their wild adornments at that well-remembered time. Being now at home again and alone and the only person in the house awake, should be Dickens, man. Check out Sleep With Me podcast, the podcast that keeps you company. Because I guess Dickens was one of us. My thoughts are drawn back by a fascination I do not care to resist to my own childhood. I begin to consider what we do all remember best upon the branches of the tree of our own days, by which we climbed to real life. Straight in the middle of the room, cramped in the freedom of its growth by no encircling walls or a soon-reached ceiling, a shadowy tree arises, and looking up into the dreamy brightness of its top, for I observe in this tree the singular property that it appears to grow downwards towards the earth. I look into my youngest Christmas recollections. All toys at first I find, up yonder, among the green holly. So you think he's shrunken down. This is cool. Up yonder among the green holly and red berries is the tumbler, with his hands in his pockets, who wouldn't lie down. But whenever he was put upon the floor, persisted in rolling about until he rolled himself still, brought the eyes of his upon me, which I affected to laugh very much. But in my heart of hearts, I was pretty unsure about him. So this kind of sounds like the old Elf on the Shelf, their version of it. A rolling ball dude. Close beside him is that infernal snuff box, out of which there sprang, holy cow. Oh, this is a wind-up thing with a counselor in a gown, an obnoxious head of hair, and a red cloth mouth, laughing, not to be endured on any terms, but which could not be put away either. For he suddenly, in his highly magnified state, popped out of the mammoth snuff boxes of my dreams when least expected, nor is the frog with the cobbler's wax on his tail far off, for there was no knowing where he couldn't jump. And when he flew over the candle and came upon one's hand with that spotted back, red on green ground, it was a sight to see. The cardboard lady in the blue silk skirt who stood up against the candlestick to dance, and whom I see on the same branch, was milder and was beautiful. But I can't say much for the larger cardboard man, who used to be hung against the wall and pulled by string. There was quite an expression that I wasn't so sure about, and he could put his legs around in strange shapes. Didn't want to hang out with him solo. And what about that looked upon me? Who put it on? Why didn't I like it? Even though it was a happy face made of paper, I'd rather have it put away. The mere recollection of a fixed face, the mere knowledge of its existence anywhere, was sufficient for me to try to listen to episodes of Sleep With Me, one after another. I never wondered why the dear old donkey with the, how do you say that, panniers? P-A-N-N-I-E-R-S, the things you put on your bikes. There he is. What was he made of then? Real to the touch, I recollect. And also the horse with the spotted round. The horse I could even get upon. I never wondered how a horse had became wooden, or thought that such a horse was not commonly seen at Newmarket. 4 horses of no color next to him that went into the wagon of cheeses that could be taken out and stabled under the piano, and appear to have bits of fur tippet for tails, and other for their manes, to stand upon pegs instead of legs. But it was not so when they were brought home for the presents. They were all right then. Neither was their harness unceremoniously glued back to their chests, as appears to be the case now. The tinkling works of the music cart I did find out to be made of quill toothpicks and wire. I always thought that the little tumbler in his shirt sleeves, perpetually swarming up one side of a wooden frame and coming down, head foremost on the other, good-natured, was the Jacob's ladder, next to him made of squares of red wood that went flapping and clattering over one another, each developing a different picture, and the whole enlivened by small bells, was a mighty marvel and a great delight. Ah, the doll's house, of which I was not proprietor, but which I visited. I don't admire the Houses of Parliament half so much as this stone-fronted mansion with real glass windows and doorsteps and a real balcony, greener than I ever see now, except at watering places, and even though they afford but a poor imitation, and though it did open all at once, the entire house front, which was a blow, I admit, as a ceiling, the fiction of a staircase, and though it did open all at once, the entire house front, which was a blow, I admit, as the canceling the fiction of a staircase was but to shut it up again, and I could believe. Man, Dickens was a lot like me. What do you mean I can't live in this dollhouse? Even open, there were 3 distinct rooms in it, a sitting room, a bedroom, elegantly furnished, and best of all, a kitchen, with uncommonly soft fire irons, a plentiful assortment of diminutive utensils, Oh, the warming pan, and a tin man cook in profile who was always going to fry 2 fish. The noble feasts wherein a set of wooden platters figured, each with its own peculiar delicacy, a ham or turkey glued tight to it and garnished with something green, which I recollect as moss. Could all the temperance societies of these later days united give me such a drinking tea as I've had through the many means of yonder little set of blue crockery, which would really hold liquid. It ran out of a small wooden cask, I recollect, and tasted of matches, and which made tea, nectar. And if the 2 legs of the ineffectual little sugar tongs did tumble over one another, and what purpose, like Punch's hands, what did it matter? And if I did once shriek out as a child and strike the fashionable company with consternation by reason of having drunk a little teaspoon, inadvertently dissolved in it 2 hot tea, I was never worse for it except by a powder. Upon the next branches of the tree, lower down, hard by the green roller and miniature gardening tools, how thick the books begin to hang. Thin books in themselves at first, but many of them, and with deliciously smooth covers of bright red or green. What fat black letters to begin with. An archer and a frog. Of course he was. He was apple pie also, and there he is. He was a many good things in his time, was A. And so were his friends, except X, who had so little versatility that I never knew him to get beyond Xerxes or something like Y, who was always a yacht or a yew tree, and a zebra always, or Z always stuck being a zebra or zany. But now the very tree changes itself and becomes a beanstalk, the marvelous beanstalk up which Jack climbed to the giant's house. And those dreadfully interesting double-headed friends, carrying sticks for walking on their shoulders, stride along the boughs in a perfect line, holding hands with knights and ladies, taking them to dinner. And Jack, how noble, ready to help make dinner, shoes of swiftness. Again, those old meditations come upon me as I gaze up at him, and I debate within myself whether there was more than one Jack, which I am loath to believe possible, or only one genuine, admirable Jack who achieved all the recorded exploits. Good for Christmas time is the ruddy color of the cloak in which the tree, making a forest of itself for her trip through with her little basket, Little Red Riding Hood, comes to me one Christmas Eve to give me information about that forest friend. About that forest friend, and then kissed her after making a joke about her brushing her things in her mouth. She was my first love. I felt that I could have married Little Red Riding Hood. If I could have, I should have been known to perfect bliss. But it was not to be, and there was nothing for it but look out for her puppy poo. It put them in the Noah's Ark. Late in the procession on the table. Oh, the wonderful Noah's Ark. It was not found seaworthy when put in a washing tub. And the animals were crammed in the roof and needed to have their legs well shaken down before they got in. And even there, and then, 10 to 1, but they began to tumble out at the door, which was but imperfectly fashioned with a wire latch. But what that was against it, consider the noble fly, a size or two smaller than the elephant. The ladybird, the butterfly, all triumphs of the arts. Consider the goose, whose feet were small and whose balance was so indifferent that he usually tumbled forward and knocked down all the animal creation. Consider Noah and his family. Warm hands, Tales of forest friends. Hush again. A forest and somebody up in a tree, not Robin Hood, not Valentine, not anyone yellow. I've passed and seen all of Mother Bunch's wonders without a mention, but they are glittering. Kings and queens and royalty down upon the grass, something you would find sleeping, a couple, head in one another's laps, relaxing and looking at the clouds, with keys to Cupid's hearts, wondering. And now all common things become uncommon and enchanted to me. All lamps are wonderful, all rings are talismans. Common flower pots are full of treasure. And with a little earth scattered on top, trees are for all. Trees are for all until we reach the valley and find precious stones and find eagles that carry string to their nest, and whence people say to the birds, hi, birds, and cook tarts and pastries and set them down, go through gates and cobble shoes and make up dinners, soups made of stone and fruits and, of course, roots, maybe beans, so they give some toots. None of that's Dickens, though. They pass through rings of stone and iron and go through caves, see magic performed by a campfire. And they dance until the earth shakes. All dates imported come from the same tree. And all olives of fresh or fruit, and a boy tells a tale about olives and apples. People wear garments of sequin. Puppy dogs give kisses. Bakers sell their wares. Rice is ready to be served, and rice pudding as well. And other grains ready to go. Even night grains to eat at nighttime. And my very rocking horse there, who seems to breathe through their nostrils, by virtue ready to fly away with me on my next adventure. Yes, every object that I recognize among those upper branches of the Christmas tree, I see a fairy light when I wake in bed at daybreak. On the cold, dark winter morning, the white snow dimly beheld. Outside, through the frost on the window pane, I hear her, sister, sister, if you are yet awake, I pray you finish your tales. Please tell me those tales. I will finish and tell you yet more. And we breathe again. At the height of my tree, I begin to see, cowering among the leaves, a turkey or pudding or a pie, or these fancies jumbled with Robinson Crusoe on an island, and Philip and their friends, and Sanford and Merton, Barlow, Mother Bunch. Or maybe it's from my of enjoyment of the delights, the delights, and that my imagination, over prodigious, exceedingly indistinct, and I don't know why, but it is. I can only make out an immense array of things, somewhat shapeless, which appear to be planted on a vast exaggeration of pine boughs. Could these be the toy stories from the tales, or toy drummers, slowly coming close to my eyes and receding to an immeasurable distance? When it comes closest, I am not sure about it. In connection with it, remembrances of winter nights incredibly long, being sent to bed early without supper for a small offense, waking in 2 hours with the sensation of being asleep for 2 nights, and of laden feelings that I should again listen to Yet Sleep With Me, of morning ever dawning, and the weight of the night relieved by a rambling rambler. And now I see a wonderful row of little lights rise smoothly out of the ground before a vast curtain. Now a bell rings, a magic bell which still sounds in my ears unlike all other bells. The music plays, Amidst a buzz of voices, a fragrant smell of orange peel and oil. Anon, the magic bell commands the music to cease, and the great green curtain rolls itself up majestically, and the play begins. A devoted puppy dog sniffs in for a place to take a break in the forest. Humor. And maybe someone with a little hat who says hello, whom I take from this hour forth as a friend. Maybe we go to the village inn for a snacky poo. But how many years have passed since he and I have met? Remarks in the, holy cow, sassy-gassity? Dictionary. No definition found, really. Sorry, Charles. Here we go. Mental flosses. 7 delightfully Dickensian words. This is from 2016. Sassagacity. This word for audacity with attitude was coined by Dickens. Never caught on. Maybe we could get it to catch on. Sassagacity. 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 It's kind of like sassafras, but with gas. Sassagacity. If you're going to be in one of those things, I doubt it would come up because it's not in sassagacity. I already lost where it was, but SASS agacity. Wonderful bell, anon. Oh, the magic bell rings majestically. Where'd sassagacity go? Did I lose my page? Sorry, Charles and everybody. This is typical sleep with me, though. Oh, my friend, remarks on the sassagacity of the puppy. It's surprising. The evermore jocular conceit will live in my memory, my remembrance, fresh and unfading, overtopping all possible jokes unto the end of time. For now I learn other stories, so long ago I can't remember many of the details, but some come upon me to comfort me. Pantomime, stupendous phenomenon. When friends with big shoes dance around into the great chandelier, bright constellation that it is, covered all over when gold and twist and sparkle. Pantaloon, whom I deem it no irreverence to compare in my own mind to my grandfather. And they have things like, here's somebody coming, or other jokes they say, I've seen you, everything is capable, and with greatest ease being changed into anything. And nothing is, but thinking makes it so. Now, too, I perceive my first experience of the sensation, often a return later, of being unable the next day to get back to the dull, settled world, of wanting to live forever in the bright atmosphere I've quitted, of doting on the little fairy with the wand like a celestial pole, and pining for a fairy immortality along with her. Ah, she comes back in many shapes, and my eye wanders down the branches of the tree and goes as often and has never yet stayed by me. Well, that's great. That's good, man. I relate. Out of this delight springs the toy theater. There, with its familiar, this is a word I can't pronounce, proscenium? We'll look it up. It's like the front of the theater. Feathers, boxes, its attendant occupation with paste and glue and gum and watercolors. In the getting up of the miller, the man, Elizabeth, in spite of a few besetting things, ups and downs, particularly unreasonable disposition, and some the double up of exciting points of the drama, teeming worlds of fancies so suggestive and all-embracing that far below it on my tree, I see the beauty of the dimmer, real theaters in the daytime, adorned with these associations, as with the freshest garlands of the rarest flowers and charming miettes. But hark, the waits are playing, and they do break my childish sleep. What images do I associate with this music I see set forth on the tree, known before all the others, keeping far apart from the others? They gather round on my little bed, an angel speaking to a group of shepherds in the field, some travelers, eyes uplifted, following a star, baby in a manger, child in a temple, people talking, and gates, people looking through, people in boats, walking, cooking, lights and oils, so many things, so many candles for different ways to celebrate in our world. Still lower on the mature branches of the tree, associations cluster thick, school books shut up, Ovid and Virgil silenced, the rule of three, with its cool, impertinent inquiries long disposed of. This stuff is way beyond my... Of Terence and Plautus acted no more. Terence and Plautus. Let's look that up. Can we look up... There we go. Nothing. In the arena of huddled desks and forms, all chipped and notched and inked, cricket bats, stumps, and balls left higher up with the smell of trodden grass, and it softened the noises of shouts in the evening air. The tree is still fresh and festive. If I no more come home, there'll be friends when the world lasts, and they do. Yonder they dance and play upon the branches of the tree. Bless them merrily, my heart dances too. And I do come home, we all do or could, or come somewhere to call home. Like Ray says, you don't have to have a father figure to be a father figure. And that metaphor can translate well beyond that statement. You could do a short holiday or longer or better, depending how you define that. Wherever we are, forever working at our arithmetical slates to take and give a rest as we go a-visiting, or caroling, or clomping, as we heard last year. Where can we not go if we will? Where have we not been when we would? Starting our fancy from our tree, away into the winter prospect. There are many such upon the tree, on by low-lying misty grounds, through ferns and fogs, up on long hills, winding paths between thick trees, the trees almost shutting out the sparkling stars, so on broad heights until we stop at last with sudden silence at an avenue. The gate bell has a deep sound in the frosty air. The gate swings open on its hinges, and as we drive upon the house, the glancing lights grow larger in the windows, and the opposing row of trees seems to fall solemnly back on either side to give us place. At intervals all day, a hare across the whitened turf, or the distant clatter of a herd of deer in the hard frost, has for a minute crushed the silence too. Their watchful eyes beneath the fern may be shining now, if we could see them, like the icy dewdrops on the leaves, but they are still, and all is still, and so the lights growing larger, and the trees falling back before us and closing up again behind us, as if to forbid retreat, we come to the house. There is probably a smell of roasted chestnuts and other good, comfortable things all the time, for we are telling winter stories or tales around the tree and the fire in the fireplace. We have never stirred except to draw a little nearer to it. But no matter what, we came to the house, for it is an old house full of chimneys where wood and old logs on the hearth and portraits, some of them with legends too, lower from the oaken panels of the walls. Here, a middle-aged nobleman who makes a generous supper with our host and hostess as their guests. It being the holiday season in this old house full of company, and then we go to bed. Our room is a very old room. It is hung with tapestry. We're not so sure about this portrait of a cavalier. Green over the fireplace, beams on the ceiling. There is a great bedstead, supported at the foot by figures who seem to have come off and be friendly friends to hold up our bed, keeping us company in our particular accommodation. But we don't overthink it. We just tune in to sleep with me. We tell our friends, listen along with me while you support my bed. We'll share some time at the fireplace in our dressing gown, musing about a great many things. But at length we go to bed. Well, we can't sleep. We toss and tumble. We can't sleep. Again, Charles, Sleep With Me podcast puts you to sleep. We do it with your bedtime story. We're kind of remixed. But still, the fireplace burns calmingly and makes the room look warm and cozy. We peep out over the counterplane, and we look at the flickering light, who is calming and calming and calming. We tune into the podcast. In reality, I'm talking as Charles. I'm talking to myself, telling myself a story, and I say, this is a foolish idea, but maybe it'll help us fall asleep. We could just, or we could go for, maybe someone could hear me through the wall panels and I'm helping them sleep, telling this tale. So I just do it. And then I feel a door open within me. And I hear calm descend upon the house. I feel calm descend upon me. And I notice that the more I speak in a calming way, the calmer I feel. I could feel the wood both absorbing and vibrating with my Dickensian tones. And I wonder if I could be sitting at every bedside within this large house on this special night in this cozy, flickering fireplace, telling tales to everyone in here. What if I could tell tales across, and you say, well, you can't, there's actually there's a whole thing called the Dickens Fair that's about you. And it's not the only one. And then you could wring your hands and put on a dressing gown and sit there with your hands warm again at the bedside of everyone who needs it. Those who don't need it, they could still just feel the warmth of our presence passing by. For we're here, keeping one another company in a sense. And this can be done, even though within my mind it says we can't, that we should just pace the gallery till daybreak and then return to our room and fall asleep and be quickly awakened. And then eat breakfast against the shining sun. All the company say, Charles, did you sleep well? But that won't have to happen. After breakfast, we go over the house with our host and take a tour. And our host tells us tales that this house is a calming place, a special place where we tell tales, that the wood in the walls is meant to both absorb and vibrate with bedtime stories throughout history. And our host says, can you feel the calmness even here in the daylight, that you didn't have to, we know, Charles, you almost chose to just pace around, but instead you told the story in your own bed, but it did pass through the house. And I say that's impossible, but they say, well, actually, there's have you heard of those things where you put there's actually a mechanical aspect to it too. It's not all ethereal, Charles. It does pass through the house through these little things within your room that look like horns or funnels. And then I realized there's no end to these old houses, resounding galleries, bedchambers and wings, welcoming bedtime tales that calm our backs and our fronts too, that warm the cool night and reduce it to something much more comfortable and type and class, that calmly walk across our hearts and soothe us, that help us to pass the night in a calming way, whether awake or asleep or between those two. The feeling of the calming planks on the walls, that they're there, the warmth of the room, but the coolness of the window, if we're, that both are there, that this transcends time and place, no more, no less, always just the same. That this doesn't just exist in this house, but another house with doors always open calmly, other doors, calming sounds, calming stories, calming images, calming smells, calming places, calming clocks, whether 8-day clocks or clocks ready to have a cuckoo, that calms you too. That calm is even waiting near the great gates in the stable yards. And it comes to pass and comes to visit us wherever we are, even in the Scottish Highlands. For those rested and those fatigued by long journeys, those who retire to bed early or those who go to bed late, those who say at the breakfast table, how odd to have so late a party last night in such a place. But I got here even after the party started and went to bed. And then people say, well, I could hear all night long a party at a distance across the field. Is there another house with a calm party that's enjoyable to listen to while you're resting with carriages driving around? But it's such a distance beyond the trees and the fog that it rests me. And our host smiled and said no more. And everyone was not yet silent, but hummed in a calming way. And after breakfast, they said it was a tradition to go on a carriage ride. And so approved, we all went on a calming carriage ride and rested yet again. And then we think of friends, friends we've known and friends we know, friends from school, particular friends we made, promises with as our best friend, our friend forever. Friends that are near, friends that are far. Friends, even when we say, I don't understand that term, in the course of time, friends are also calming too, and we can be friends to ourselves as Charles was to himself last night, our host said, progressing and calming. Even at night we may take diverging paths that were wide asunder, but at night, for many years hearing these calming ideas, whether at a manor or staying at an inn, whether on the Yorkshire moors or anywhere else in the world, you happen to look out of bed and there in the moonlight, you see something calming that reminds you of friendship or friends. And it's like a calming whisper. I'm here in the deep dark night to keep you company, as are the walls, a whole form becoming something in the moonlight that helps you stay calm. And ideas of picturesque homes, whether Elizabethan or others, you think about homes, you think about architecture, you think about the doll houses I listed before. And you say, oh, Charles, could you tell me a tale once more tonight of a broad walk, of gathering flowers, of turning my head, a picture of a story never begun and never finished, that's walking somewhere in this house, even when you're gone, calming us through the walls. A tale of an uncle or a brother or a wife riding horses calmly, mellow at an even sunset evening in a green lane. And they pass by a man standing, waving, smiling at the very center of a narrow way. Why, look at that man waving in the cloak, we say. Does he want to ride with us or just to wave? And we wave back, and the waving and the smiling seem to be enough. It's a good sensation. It goes through your bones and relaxes you, and we're close to it even though we've ridden by. His smile and his wave is still with us, gliding along with us, gliding along the bank of a river in a curious, friendly manner, backward, forward, moving without feet. Uncles, brothers, wives saying, "Why, hello, my cousin, Harry," riding by calmly in yet another horse, wondering at such calming behavior, not dashing but calmly moving to the front of the house. We think of French windows and horses passing by them, a drawing room opening onto the grounds. We think about introducing our cousins to other people's cousins and saying, "This is my cousin. Is this your cousin?" "Yes, cousin. This is your cousin." We think of shows that say cousin, and we say cousin, and then we say chef, and then we say chef. And in that lane that only exists here in the walls and in our voices and in our stories, we feel calm here, this instance, together, wherever we are in the world. It's sensible. Even at 99, hearing the stories in these walls, hearing the tales and the rambling and knowing the truth is this, that a story belongs to all of us. We all have this connection. Whatever the age, it doesn't even have to be an uncommonly fine story, which is told or heard. It just has to be a sense of presence, a sense of connectedness, that this story in this place, it cannot be held, but does not need to be held, for it's a guardian. It's held in passing in trust, and we know that this can be a good thing, whether in a bedroom or on a couch or in a guest room, whether you went straight to bed or not, wherever in the night or the morning. Composed or uncomposed, forlorn or feeling pretty, prepped or unprepped, we're together in the deep, dark night, and everybody can breathe calmly or make a sound or groan. Everybody could kiss their shoulders and have a bit of peace of mind, or whatever's keeping us up at night. Maybe that goes downstairs with Scoots to eat grape nuts and to leave us be in this cool winter night. Those are forlorn thoughts. It could be with Scoots listening to his tale, peeping out of the windows or whatever and saying, "We'll let them sleep and we'll just listen to this story. A legend of this house, is it? I don't understand." Scoots softly opens a door in each one of these thoughts and lets them look in. They take steps around the grape nuts, and Scoots tells them this doesn't taste like grapes or nuts, but as an adult, he enjoys the flavor somewhat. But we don't need to communicate in this part of the house because it's just a part of a symbol, part of a calm that can ascend anywhere, 12 hours, 24 hours, or no hours. In castles or not, in the day or wherever you might be, whether you have bread or grapes or a flask of old Rhine wine, these calm tales reverberate, for they were before this podcast. They've always been there. They're right here in this legion of the names of these stories that let us draw close to a fireplace, calm embers, even if we don't have one, of those padded footstools that look like you could sit down and put your shoes on them or use them as a footstool, of the vast crop of fruit shining on the tree and blossom at the very top, ripening down all the boughs, among the toys and the fancies hanging there, as idle often, images once associated with waiting of softened music, encircled by social thoughts, and the figures of the past and the present and the future of anticipation yet unchanged, every cheerful image and suggestion that the season brings. Maybe the bright star rested upon the calming roof, a moment's pause, O vanishing tree, of which the lower boughs I can't yet see. Let me look once more. I know there are blank spaces on thy branches where eyes have shone and smiled, but far above I see more calm, the calm of these stories we share, the calm of these memories and calm, that yet we are together, and yet we are not, even though this doesn't make any sense and it's yet unseen. We can have a child's trustfulness and confidence. Now the tree is decorated with bright merriment and song and dance and cheerfulness. All are welcome. Innocent and welcome be they ever held, especially those brain bots that keep us up at night, beneath the branches of this tree, which cast no gloomy shadow. But as it sinks into the ground, I hear a whisper going through the leaves. This is a commemoration of love and kindness, mercy and compassion. You're not alone in the deep, dark night. We're all in this together. Good night, everybody, and happy holiday season, however you celebrate. Even if it's just snuggled in bed with all me and you and all the other listeners out there sharing this moment together, a calming moment. And to Chuck D, Chuck D, who had a big place in my childhood, and Charles Dickens, too. Good night. I want to thank everybody that has been active and signed up for a referral program or is just about to get active. And let's take a look here. We got Aaron with a Y who just signed up. Ann C who just signed up. Cool Guy who signed up. Looks like there's 2 visits. And then we have Megan D. 9-page visits, 2 previews, and 6 referrals. So Megan D's already qualified for multiple months of Sleep With Me Plus, and we haven't even launched it yet. So that is cool. And this is real people, because people say, hey, can't afford to support the show, or, hey, why isn't the show 100% ad-free all the time? Those are 2 different things. If you can't support the show directly, great way, like Megan, that's in just 8 days, earned months and months and months of Sleep With Me Plus. And, so I'm going to be, once Sleep With Me Plus launches, I'll be reaching out to Megan and a few other people on here. And we have Carol D signed up, Ashley W, 5-page visits. We got... Cerois, that's a 1-page visit. Jackie, B, 6-page visits, 1 preview. Shanna, 4-page visits, 2 previews. So when a page visit preview means that somebody checked it out, but they didn't, subscribe to the podcast for free, a free subscription. And so the only advice I would give is it does take a few different ones telling a story, an honest story. So if you're sharing it with people in person, be like, hey, did you you might have to follow up or by email. But if you're sharing on social media, it does take with Sleep With Me, it takes 5 to 7 times before just a tiny percentage of the audience will respond. So it's kind of the same. If you're sharing on social media and you have 100 followers or whatever, or 100 family members or 100 friends, you might have to say, hey, this is my favorite sleep podcast. It's called Sleep With Me. This is why I like it. Then the second post might be, hey, this is Sleep With Me. This is one of my favorite episodes. This is why. Hey, the third post might be, hey, this is Sleep With Me. This is what my sleeping was like before, and now this is what I really enjoy about it. I'm sure that's what Megan and them are doing. Jed signed up, hasn't got Sharon yet. Karen, 1-page visit. A lot of times 1-page visit, yeah, you're checking your page. Here comes another person, 6 referrals. Natasha, that's in 18 days. Natasha, 8-page visits, 3 previews, 6 referrals. Malik, 1-page visit, 1 referral. All right. And Brienne, still just signed up. Aaron, 1-page visit. Sjord was the first person to qualify for extra sleep for free Sleep With Me Plus. So thanks everybody. And if you're still up and you're hearing this and you say, hey, I want to do this for fun. Like, let's say you're a paid subscriber. You could reach out to me and let me know you signed up for the referral program. We could figure something else out. If you start getting a lot of referrals, we could either gift it to somebody. You could use it as, credit or discount or something. Or, let's say you support the show at, $60 a year. And you say, hey, Ann, I've gotten 12 referrals. We could figure out, hey, maybe I could give you some sort of discount for the $120 level, So anyway, let me know, because I couldn't do it without all you. And this is exciting, really, because this is a huge free way to support the show. You wouldn't believe it. It's this huge impact these listeners are having. So I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much, and good night. All right, everybody, this is Scoots. This is a tuck you in message. And as I start this message out, I want to make this very clear, especially if you're listening right now and you're new. You only listen to this show occasionally, like once in a while when you need it, or you're just having a tough time right now, getting through something, getting over something, the kind of things I talk about in the intro. Or if you're like me, a lot of times in my life where things financially felt challenging and supporting the show just isn't possible, you really don't need to do anything. You don't need to support the show directly or be concerned because we really do have you. And I'm going to read through some testimonials of people that support the show for them and for you. And those testimonials are just a few of the thousands of people that support the show. So it can be here for people that can't support the show, or it really wouldn't make sense if you're only listening occasionally, if you're new, for you to support the show. So we have you covered. Like the listeners who I'm going to read through tonight, and like I'm trying to return to doing, we've done in the past, they're the reason the show can be here night after night, and that you don't have to worry about him. But before we get to those testimonials, there is a BUT, right? If you are listening right now and you normally listen all night long to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 episodes a night, or you listen most nights during the week, if you fall asleep fast and you just happen to be hearing this, or you've been listening longer than a year, if the show is a big part of your evenings, your wind down, and your sleep, that's where I've been trying to be more and more clear and direct. I love making this podcast. The people that work with the show, work on the show, love making it. I love being a service, trying to bring sleepy joy and delight, help you fall asleep, bring you comfort in the deep, dark night. But the only way that happens is if you're in one of those listener categories, is if people that listen the same way as you do support the show. And we all go through seasons, right? So maybe you had your season of supporting the show, or maybe your season of supporting the show's coming up, or maybe you're like, well, I'm not sure. Let me look outside and see what I think. Or maybe you're hoping like that someone else will support the show. Because it is either you or someone that listens like you supporting the show, or it's no one supporting the show tonight, right? It's either an all-night listener other than you, or you, the all-night listener, you, the multiple nights a week listener, you, the person that's been listening, or someone else that listens just like you, or it's just to be clear, like that's really what keeps the show going, and impacts the ups and downs of the show. So I don't know if tonight's your night. If you are in a position to support the show, you've been putting it off, maybe think about supporting it right now at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And don't wait for tomorrow or set some kind of thing tomorrow, or kind of like me, think fondly of the person that we're both hoping steps up tonight, that all-night listener, that person that falls asleep fast, somebody that's been listening 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, or someone that's here every night with us. But who has, you guys? You know, who's in the community supporting the show for everyone? Well, Melissa is. Melissa's been listening for over 2 years now, nearly nightly. So a nearly nightly listener. And it helps so much and puts me in a very relaxed mood. I finally subscribed when I realized on most nights I didn't have my phone with me, but I could literally recite the beginning of the podcast in my head. And even that in my head almost worked. And the reason I didn't do it sooner was part of it was cost, but now I'm in a financial place to do so. But the other part was complacency. I think forgetting to do it when I inevitably would fall asleep. I've always been one of the super listeners described on the show, and I kept putting it off. And I think that came from a place of having all free podcasts. I think it was just truly complacency. I think you say it well in the podcast. This show has given me so much support and help. It's time to turn around and support you and the team. It feels nice to feel like we have a hand in keeping it afloat, and that is really true. And Taylor also supported the show, and Taylor said, I'm an adult, late 20s, early 30s, go through brief periods of insomnia that last around a month, and I tried sleeping me on a friend's recommendation and bounced off it. It wasn't until a few years later when I was really struggling that I tried it again, and it worked. And I found the ads distracting and decided to try out ad-free ones by supporting the show, and found this version worked perfectly. The monthly cost is small compared to the benefit I get from the show. And even when my insomnia quiets down a bit, I still enjoy listening to the show because I like listening to Scooter. So thanks, Taylor. And then Stephanie. Stephanie has been listening for about 8 years, and I had the same experience Scooter just describes all the time. I tried the podcast and disliked it. I just didn't get it yet. And then later I was traveling. I thought I'd give her another try, and I've been listening since. And I really like the references on the show, some of the personal stories, and I can fall asleep really quickly now, and that's completely worth supporting the show. And I put on Sleep With Me also to make me feel more comfortable in other times. I just feel like I spend so much money on things that have no meaning in my life. This show means much more to me that I can't help but being a supporter. In the past, I felt like other people would take care of it for me, like there was people with limitless money who should be doing it for the rest of us. But once I really thought about how I spend my money and my deep relationship with the show, I realized I am one of the very few people who should be a supporter. It took a while, but I did so 3 years ago. I feel like I'm probably one of those super listeners. Scooter works hard for us, and hard work deserves fair compensation. And what about Debbie, who said, I listen almost every night, sometimes all night. I try to keep my queue full. I especially like the Trader Joe's episodes, and I feel comforted by a familiar voice. That's why I support Sleep With Me as a board bestie, and it seems like a good value. The obstacle to me supporting the show was remembering to do so. Was to remember to do it once I decided to support this podcast. And if I feel responsible, free is great. But if something has worth, it's also important to support it financially. So thanks, Melissa, Taylor, Stephanie, and Debbie for supporting the show. Wouldn't exist without listeners like you. And maybe you relate to it. Maybe you're the person tonight, the Taylor, Stephanie, Debbie, Melissa tonight that supports the show. And when you do, I believe it or not, I send out a video and I ask you why. So I'm looking forward to hearing your why of why you support the show. Thanks.